Complete ranking of the best and worst leg exercises. When we talk about leg training, many people still get a bit confused with the variety of available exercises and the fact that some activate similar muscle groups. This is where various doubts arise. Are they all equally effective? Is the squat really superior to the leg press? Is the leg extension worth it? And what about the Bulgarian split squat? Especially for those with limited time, it's necessary to prioritize exercises that bring better results. That's why today you'll see the complete ranking involving all the most popular leg exercises. We'll classify them into 5 categories: excellent, good, average, bad, and horrible. We'll analyze each exercise considering its effectiveness in muscle activation, safety for joints, and ease of execution. Let's start with the hip thrust. This exercise falls into the excellent category. The hip thrust is an exceptional exercise for glute development. Few exercises can activate the glutes as efficiently as this one. Electromyographic studies show that the activation of the gluteus maximus during the hip thrust exceeds even traditional exercises like the squat. Additionally, it's a movement that puts little stress on the lumbar spine when executed correctly, making it a safe option for practically all practitioners. The beauty of this exercise lies in the possibility of using significant overloads, allowing continuous progression. Another positive point is that it can be easily adapted, from bodyweight versions for beginners to versions with barbell and plates for advanced athletes. The hip thrust also offers excellent metabolic stimulation when performed with moderate to high repetitions, making it a perfect complement to any leg workout focused on hypertrophy or aesthetics. Leg extension machine. We'll place this exercise in the good category. The leg extension machine is one of the few movements that effectively isolates the rectus femoris, one of the 4 heads of the quadriceps that, besides extending the knee, also flexes the hip. This unique characteristic makes the leg extension a valuable exercise for complete development of the anterior thigh. In terms of muscle activation, electromyographic studies show that the leg extension generates high activation of the quadriceps, especially in the final portion of the movement, which would justify its classification as an excellent exercise. However, there's an important factor that puts it in the good category: the potential stress on the knee joint. When performed with excessive loads or inadequate technique, the exercise can generate significant shear forces on the knee, especially in the final portion of the movement. This doesn't mean the exercise should be avoided, but rather executed with caution, appropriate technique, and for some practitioners, with limitation of the range of motion at the end of the movement. For those with a history of knee problems, it's advisable to consult a professional before including it in their training. Seated calf raise. This also falls into the good category. This movement has the main advantage of effectively isolating the soleus muscle, an important part of the calf that's partially hidden under the gastrocnemius, the more visible portion of the calf. Since the soleus is predominantly composed of slow-twitch fibers, the seated calf raise allows more targeted work for this type of fiber, perfectly complementing standing exercises that emphasize the gastrocnemius more. However, what prevents this exercise from reaching the excellent classification is the difficulty of working with significant overloads. The seated position naturally limits the amount of weight that can be used, especially when compared to standing variations or on the leg press. This can restrict the stimulus for maximum hypertrophy, particularly for advanced practitioners. Romanian deadlift. This exercise falls into the excellent category. The Romanian deadlift, or stiff-legged deadlift, is simply exceptional for hamstring development. What makes this exercise so valuable is its ability to work the hamstrings both in the function of hip extensors and knee flexors simultaneously, creating a unique tension in this muscle group. A golden tip is to position it at the end of the leg workout when the muscles are already pre-fatigued to maximize the stimulus. The Romanian deadlift provides an incredible stretch in the hamstrings, which can significantly contribute to muscle growth through mechanical stress, although it requires careful technique to protect the lower back. Once mastered, few exercises provide such complete work for the posterior leg. The sensation of stretching under load is intense and extremely productive for hypertrophy. Lying leg curl. This exercise falls into the excellent category. This exercise provides extremely effective activation of the hamstrings, allowing isolated and intense work of this muscle group. One of the great advantages of the lying leg curl is the protection of the lumbar region, since the practitioner remains lying down throughout the execution, eliminating the stress on the spine that can occur in other exercises for the posterior chain. The movement also offers an excellent contraction sensation at the highest point, allowing the practitioner to really feel the muscle working. Electromyographic studies confirm the high activation of the hamstrings during this exercise, making it an evidence-based choice for those seeking hypertrophy. The lying leg curl also allows different positioning adjustments, enabling variations that can emphasize different portions of the hamstrings. Seated leg curl. This exercise also falls into the excellent category. What puts it in this category is its ability to provide a complete stretch of the hamstrings at the top of the movement, followed by a powerful contraction. Comparative studies between the seated leg curl and the lying leg curl have demonstrated a small advantage of the seated version in terms of hypertrophy, probably due to the greater stretch provided. Research published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research showed that the seated leg curl exercise with emphasis on the eccentric phase can significantly increase hamstring hypertrophy. The biomechanics of the movement allow perfect isolation of the hamstrings, minimizing the participation of other muscle groups. This makes the seated leg curl an ideal choice for those seeking targeted development. Horizontal leg press. This exercise falls into the good category. The horizontal leg press, also known as the 180-degree leg press, offers significant advantages, especially for beginning practitioners or those with restrictions in free weight exercises. The mechanics of the movement allow excellent recruitment of leg muscles, quadriceps, glutes, and depending on foot positioning, also hamstrings and adductors. One of the great advantages of the horizontal leg press is the safety it provides, eliminating the need for balance and postural control required in free squats. This allows the practitioner to focus entirely on the execution of the movement and the mind-muscle connection. Additionally, versatility is another strong point, as it's possible to adapt the exercise for different objectives. Feet higher on the platform for greater emphasis on glutes and hamstrings, feet lower to focus on quadriceps, or different widths to work more or less on the adductors. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to correct and science-based information is what will make you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Hack squat. This exercise falls into the excellent category. The unique biomechanics of this movement allow an impressive range of motion, resulting in great tension in the muscles of the anterior thigh. What differentiates the hack from other squats is the possibility of maintaining a more upright trunk, which significantly decreases stress on the lower back when compared to traditional squats. This allows the practitioner to focus on overloading the quadriceps without excessive concerns about the lumbar region. However, it's fundamental to maintain correct technique, with the back firmly supported on the backrest of the machine and avoiding rounding the lower back in the deeper portions of the movement. Foot positioning also offers versatility, wider for greater emphasis on adductors and hamstrings, or closer to focus on quadriceps. The machine also provides a sense of security that allows better exploration of the eccentric phase of the movement, fundamental for muscle growth. Standing single leg curl. This exercise falls into the excellent category. It provides the great advantage of working one side at a time, which allows identifying and correcting muscle imbalances between the legs. When we execute the movement standing, we naturally engage the core to maintain stability, transforming an isolated exercise into a movement that recruits multiple muscle groups. The standing position also facilitates a more intense contraction at the highest part of the movement, precisely where many hamstring exercises fail to generate adequate tension. Another positive point is that the single leg curl allows exceptional control of the range of motion, minimizing compensations that are common in bilateral exercises. This results in a more targeted and efficient stimulus. Deadlift. This exercise falls into the excellent category. The deadlift is unquestionably a superior exercise, and for many specialists, the king of exercises for the posterior chain. Few movements can recruit so many muscle groups simultaneously, hamstrings, glutes, spinal erectors, trapezius, and even the forearms are strongly solicited. This characteristic makes the deadlift a true builder of muscle mass and functional strength. The compound nature of the movement perfectly simulates the lifting pattern we perform in daily life, making it extremely functional. From a hormonal point of view, exercises that recruit large muscle mass like the deadlift promote a greater release of anabolic hormones, enhancing the gains from the entire workout. For the hamstring specifically, the deadlift provides unparalleled tension, especially in the concentric phase of the movement. Standing calf raise machine. This exercise falls into the excellent category. What makes this exercise so effective is the possibility of using significant loads, something fundamental to stimulate the growth of the gastrocnemius, a muscle predominantly composed of fast twitch fibers that respond better to high-intensity stimuli. The standing position allows a complete range of motion, from maximum stretch to total contraction, effectively engaging both the gastrocnemius and the soleus. The machine provides stability, allowing the practitioner to concentrate all their energy on the heel-raising movement without concerns about balance. Another positive point is the possibility of varying foot positioning, toes out to emphasize the inner portion, or toes in to work more on the outer portion of the calf. Lunges. This exercise falls into the average category. Lunges fit into this category for reasons that deserve careful analysis. On one hand, this exercise offers a unique stimulus to the leg muscles, working quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and adductors unilaterally, which can help correct imbalances between sides. The movement also has a stability component that engages the core and improves balance, important functional qualities. However, some factors limit its effectiveness and universal applicability. First, the correct technical execution of lunges is challenging, requiring a good level of coordination and balance. For many practitioners, especially beginners, this can result in compensations that compromise both results and safety. Another critical point is the difficulty of load progression. Unlike exercises such as squats or leg press, adding weight in lunges quickly becomes limited by the ability to hold dumbbells or by stability with the barbell. Additionally, the exercise can generate considerable stress on the knees, especially when executed with inadequate technique. Finally, for the specific objective of hypertrophy, there are alternatives that allow greater overload and better control of the movement. Calf raise on leg press. This exercise falls into the excellent category. First, the position allows keeping the knee extended throughout the movement, which maximizes the activation of the gastrocnemius, the largest calf muscle. The leg press provides an extremely stable and comfortable platform, allowing the practitioner to focus totally on muscle contraction without concerns about balance. Another significant advantage is the possibility of using substantial loads safely, something crucial to stimulate the growth of type 2 muscle fibers, predominant in the calf. The range of motion can also be exceptional, especially in machines that allow good displacement of the platform. This results in a deep stretch followed by a powerful contraction, creating the ideal stimulus for hypertrophy. Classic squat. This exercise falls into the excellent category. Here it couldn't be different. Frequently called the king of exercises, the barbell squat is a fundamental movement that transcends simple leg development, positively impacting the entire body. What makes this exercise so powerful is its compound nature, simultaneously recruiting quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, adductors, and even the core and back as stabilizers. This characteristic makes the squat a true builder of global strength and muscle mass. From a hormonal point of view, few exercises can stimulate such a significant anabolic response as the squat with adequate load. The neuromuscular demand is intense, which results in adaptations that benefit development and performance in practically any physical activity. 45-degree leg press. This exercise falls into the good category. This exercise allows the use of significant loads in a relatively safe manner, which makes it an excellent option for hypertrophy stimulus, especially for intermediate and advanced practitioners. The inclined position creates a differentiated demand on the leg muscles when compared to the horizontal leg press, generating a unique sensation of muscle work. A notable advantage is the versatility of the exercise, which allows adjustments in foot positioning to emphasize different muscle groups. Feet higher for glutes and hamstrings, feet lower for quadriceps, feet wider or closer to vary the emphasis on the adductors. What prevents the 45-degree leg press from reaching the excellent classification is mainly the potential for lumbar compression when executed with inadequate technique or excessive loads. The inclination may encourage some practitioners to use very heavy weights, compromising form and increasing risk to the lumbar spine, especially in the final portion of the movement when the hip begins to come off the backrest. Nordic hamstring curl. This exercise falls into the average category. From the point of view of muscle activation, studies show that the Nordic hamstring curl generates an extremely powerful eccentric contraction in the hamstrings, which could contribute to the development of strength and potentially hypertrophy. However, one of the main problems is the ease of excessively tensioning the lumbar region during execution, especially when performed without adequate technique or without the necessary strength level. For many practitioners, the Nordic hamstring curl becomes an excessively difficult exercise, making execution with adequate range and control impossible. This can result in compensations and increase the risk of injuries. Additionally, for the specific objective of hamstring hypertrophy, there are alternatives such as the seated leg curl and the lying leg curl that allow more precise control of the load and execution, resulting in a more consistent and progressive stimulus. Front squat. This exercise falls into the average category. On one hand, this exercise has the potential to generate intense activation of the quadriceps and core, due to the frontal positioning of the bar that forces a more upright posture. This characteristic can be particularly beneficial for athletes of certain modalities and for specific development of the anterior thigh. However, various factors limit its applicability and effectiveness for the average practitioner. One of the main problems is the considerable discomfort that many experience with the bar supported in the region of the anterior deltoids and clavicles, which frequently limits the load used not by the muscular capacity of the legs, but by comfort in the upper part of the body. Additionally, there is a greater tendency to excessively arch the lower back during execution, which can increase the risk of injuries in this sensitive region. The learning curve is also steeper when compared to traditional squats, requiring greater mobility of shoulders and elbows, in addition to more refined body mechanics. For many practitioners, especially beginners or intermediates, there are alternatives that offer similar benefits with less risk and greater comfort. If you've made it this far, you must have noticed that we haven't classified any exercises in the bad or horrible categories. This is because, in general, the popular leg exercises we discussed have their value when executed correctly and adapted to individual needs. Even the exercises in the average category can be useful in specific contexts or for certain objectives. The most important thing is to understand that the effectiveness of an exercise is not absolute, but relative to your personal goals, anatomy, injury history, and preferences. The exercises classified as excellent generally offer the best relationship between muscle stimulus, safety, and ease of progression for most people, but this doesn't mean that others should be completely discarded. If you liked this, and besides these better-known exercises, you also want to discover 6 isometric positions that change your entire lower body. We've left a video appearing right now on the screen showing and explaining each one of them. Don't forget to check it out. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.